Hey friends, please subscribe. 1 second for you. Big deal for me. My name is Sophia Chen. I'm 28 years old, and I run a 7-figure e-commerce business from my apartment in Austin, Texas. For 5 years, my parents mocked my little online hobby, comparing me unfavorably to my younger sister Madison, the Harvard Law School graduate, their golden child. Last Saturday, at Madison's graduation party, my father publicly humiliated me in front of 80 guests, calling me the family disappointment. So I did something I'd been planning for months. I stood up, handed my father an envelope, and watched as he opened it and went pale. Inside was a bank statement showing $1.5 million in my business account. Madison's face when she realized her loser sister was a millionaire, priceless. What happened after that moment changed my entire family. Stay until the end to see the fallout. And if you've ever been underestimated, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments about your success story. It started 5 years ago when I was 23. I dropped out of community college after 1 year, not because I was failing, but because I discovered something more interesting: e-commerce. I'd been selling vintage clothing on eBay to make extra money. What started as $200 a month turned into $2,000, then $5,000. By the time I dropped out, I was making more than most college graduates. But my parents, Dr. James Chen, a surgeon, and Dr. Linda Chen, a university professor, were horrified. You're throwing away your education for what? Selling used clothes on the internet? My father had shouted. It's a business, Dad. I'm making real money. It's not a real job, Sophia. It's a hobby, a phase. You need a degree. You need stability. My mother agreed. Your sister is at Harvard Law School, Harvard, and you're playing on the computer. Madison, 3 years younger than me, but light years, ahead in my parents' eyes, had looked at me with pity. Soph, you really should go back to school. This internet thing won't last. I'd tried to explain. Profit margins, inventory management, marketing strategies, customer acquisition costs. They'd laughed. Not with me, at me. Over the next 5 years, as my business grew, the mockery never stopped. Family dinners were torture. How's the little eBay store? My father would ask, his tone dripping with condescension. I'm actually expanding into... Madison got another award at Harvard. Did you hear? Top of her class. Again. Every achievement of Madison's was celebrated with expensive dinners, gifts, social media posts. Every milestone of mine was ignored or belittled. When I moved from eBay to Shopify and launched my own brand selling curated vintage fashion, my mother said, "That's nice, dear. Madison just published a paper in the Harvard Law Review." When I hired my first employee, my father said, "Madison has a summer internship at a Supreme Court justice's office." Can you believe it? When I opened a second revenue stream, drop-shipping sustainable fashion, my parents literally changed the subject. That's interesting. Anyway, Madison's graduation is coming up. We're throwing her a huge party. Madison's graduation from Harvard Law, the pinnacle of my parents' dreams. I wasn't invited to help plan. I wasn't asked for input. I was told 2 weeks before, you should come. Try to dress nicely. We'll have important people there. Translation, don't embarrass us. What my parents didn't know, what I never told them, was how successful my little hobby had become. Year 1, $120,000 revenue, $35,000 profit. Year 2, $380,000 revenue, $125,000 profit. Year 3, $750,000 revenue, $285,000 profit. Year 4, $1.2 million revenue, $520,000 profit. Year 5, $2.1 million revenue, $890,000 profit. After expenses, salaries, tax, and reinvestment, I'd accumulated $1.5 million in my business savings account. $1.5 million at age 28, I owned my car outright, a modest Honda because I preferred to reinvest profits. I rented a nice apartment in Austin. I had a small team of 5 employees. I'd been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine's 30 Under 30 list. I'd been invited to speak at e-commerce conferences. I had 150,000 Instagram followers. But I never told my parents. Why? Because I was waiting for the perfect moment to prove them wrong. And that moment was Madison's graduation party. The party was held at an upscale country club in Boston. My parents had spent $25,000 on it. Flowers, catering, a live band, custom decorations. Everything was Harvard crimson and white. There were banners. Congratulations, Madison Chen, Harvard Law School graduate. Photos of Madison at various stages of her Harvard career. A slideshow of her accomplishments on loop. 80 guests. Family, friends, my parents' colleagues, Madison's law school friends, distant relatives. I arrived alone wearing a simple but elegant navy dress. Not designer, but nice. I deliberately dressed down. My mother's first words, "Oh, Sophia, you came. That's a nice dress. From Target?" "Actually, it's from my own collection." She blinked. "Your what?" "My fashion line. I designed some of the pieces now." She wasn't listening. She'd already turned away to greet more important guests. I found my seat at the back table, not the family table, the overflow table with people my parents barely knew. Madison held court at the center table, radiant in a designer dress my parents had bought her, her Harvard diploma framed on display. After dinner, my father stood to give a speech. "I want to thank everyone for coming tonight to celebrate our daughter Madison's incredible achievement, Harvard Law School. When she was accepted 3 years ago, Linda and I cried with joy." He raised his glass toward Madison. "Madison, you've made us so proud. You've what? Worked so hard. You've proven that dedication, education, and perseverance pay off." Applause. Madison beamed. "Unlike some people," my father continued, and I felt my stomach tighten. Madison didn't take shortcuts. She didn't give up when things got hard. She didn't waste her potential on frivolous pursuits. He wasn't looking at me, but everyone knew who he meant. Madison represents everything we believe in. Hard work, education, traditional success. She's going to change the world. Unlike, he finally looked at me, unlike her sister, who's still playing on the internet selling used clothes. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Some people looked uncomfortable. Others smirked. Madison looked down at her plate, embarrassed but not disagreeing. My mother added, "We're just grateful that at least one of our daughters fulfilled her potential." The knife twisted. I stood up. Every head turned toward me. "Sophia, sit down," my mother hissed. "This isn't about you." "You're right," I said calmly. "This is about Madison and her incredible achievement. Graduating from Harvard Law is amazing." Madison looked confused. My father looked suspicious. I walked to the head table, reaching into my clutch. "I brought a graduation gift for Madison, but Dad, I think you should open it first." I handed my father a sealed envelope. "What is this?" he asked. "Just open it." The room had gone silent. Everyone was watching. My father opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper, a bank statement from my business account. Account holder, Sophia Chen account type business savings current balance, $1,547,392. My father stared at it. His face went from confusion to shock to pale white. "This is..." He couldn't finish the sentence. "That's my online business, Dad. My little hobby. That's what selling used clothes on the internet looks like after 5 years." My mother grabbed the paper from his hands. Her jaw dropped. $1.5 million, I said clearly so everyone could hear. "From my e-commerce company, the one you've been mocking for 5 years. The room erupted in whispers. Madison stared at me, her mouth open. "I started with $500 selling vintage clothing on eBay," I continued. "I taught myself inventory management, digital marketing, SEO, social media strategy. I scaled from 1 platform to 3. I built a brand. I hired a team. Last year, my company did $2.1 million in revenue." My father was still staring at the bank statement like it might disappear. "I've been featured in Entrepreneur magazine. I spoke at a conference in Las Vegas last month with 3,000 attendees. I have 150,000 Instagram followers. And yes, I pay my taxes. Want to see those documents too?" My mother found her voice. "Why didn't you tell us?" "I tried. For 5 years. Every time I mentioned my business, you changed the subject to Madison. Every achievement I had was dismissed, so I stopped trying. But how? My father whispered. By working 70-hour weeks while you told everyone I was wasting my life. By learning skills that college never would have taught me. By taking risks you called stupid. By proving that traditional paths aren't the only paths to success. I turned to Madison. Congratulations on Harvard. Truly, that's an incredible accomplishment. But you're starting your career with $200,000 in student loan debt, while I'm starting mine debt-free with $1.5 million in the bank. Madison's face cycled through emotions: shock, disbelief, jealousy, anger. This isn't real, she said finally. You're lying. You probably faked this. Would you like me to log into my bank account right now? I can pull it up on my phone. No, my father said quickly. We believe you. Do you? Because an hour ago, I was the family disappointment, the daughter who wasted her potential. Now what am I? Silence. I'm still the same person, I continued. I was successful a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but you couldn't see it because it didn't fit your definition of success. One of my father's colleagues spoke up, Dr. Richard Palmer, a surgeon I'd known since childhood. James, did you really not know about Sophia's business? My father shook his head, still in shock. She's famous in the e-commerce world, Dr. Palmer said. My daughter follows her on Instagram. She teaches young entrepreneurs how to build online businesses. She's a huge deal. My mother looked like she might cry. Sophia, I don't understand. Why didn't you... I sent you articles. I sent you links to my features in magazines. I invited you to my speaking engagement in Dallas. You ignored all of it. We thought it was just... We didn't realize. You didn't realize because you didn't care to look. Madison stood up, her voice shaking. So what? You came here to ruin my graduation? To make this about you? No, I came here to be supportive. But Dad decided to publicly humiliate me. So I reminded him and everyone here that I'm not a failure. I'm just successful in a way he doesn't understand. You're so selfish, Madison spat. This was my night. And you still graduated from Harvard. Nothing I said changes that. But maybe next time, don't let your parents use me as a punchline to make you look better. My father finally spoke, his voice quiet. Sophia, I don't know what to say. You could start with, I'm sorry. You could acknowledge that you were wrong, that you spent 5 years mocking something you didn't understand. I am sorry. I didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't ask. Because you assumed traditional success was the only real success. My mother was crying now. We were just worried about you. We wanted you to be secure. I am secure. More secure than most people my age. I own my car. I have no debt. I have a thriving business. I have financial freedom. What exactly were you worried about? She had no answer. I looked around the room at all the guests watching this family drama unfold. Congratulations again, Madison. Enjoy your party. I turned to leave. Sophia, wait, my father called. I stopped but didn't turn around. Where are you going? Back to Austin. I have a business to run. I drove straight to my hotel and booked a flight home for the next morning. Within an hour, my phone exploded with texts. Dad, please come back to the party. We need to talk. Mom, Sophia, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Please let us make this right. Madison, you totally upstaged me at my own graduation. Thanks a lot. I responded to none of them. Then the texts from relatives started. Aunt Julie, Sophia, why didn't you tell us about your business? I had no idea. You're amazing. Cousin David, just heard what happened at the party. Respect, your parents had that coming. Uncle Tom, your dad called me. He's devastated. Can you talk to him? I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb and went to sleep. The next morning, I flew home to Austin. When I landed, I had 47 missed calls and 89 text messages. I ignored them all. Over the next week, my parents tried everything to contact me. They called. I didn't answer. They texted. I didn't respond. They sent emails. I archived them unread. My father showed up at my apartment building. Security called me to ask if I wanted to allow him up. No, I said. My mother sent flowers with a card. We're so proud of you. We're sorry we didn't see it sooner. I donated the flowers to a nursing home. Finally, 2 weeks after the party, I agreed to a video call. Both my parents appeared on screen, looking exhausted and remorseful. Sophia, thank you for calling, my mother said. We've been trying to reach you. I know, I've been ignoring you. We deserve that, my father said. We deserve worse. Sophia, we were wrong. So wrong. About what specifically? About your business. About dismissing it. About comparing you to Madison. About everything. Why were you wrong? My father hesitated. Because you're successful. You proved us wrong. Wrong answer, I said. Try again. My mother spoke up. Because we judged you without understanding what you were building. Because we valued traditional success over actual success. Because we hurt you. Better, but still not quite right. Then tell us, my father pleaded. What do you want us to say? You were wrong, I said slowly, because you based my worth on whether I met your expectations. You decided what success looked like, and when I didn't fit that mold, you labeled me a failure. But I was never failing. I was just succeeding differently. My mother was crying. You're right, we're so sorry. Do you even know what my company does? What it's called? Silence. Chen Collective. I sell curated vintage and sustainable fashion. I have partnerships with 15 vintage suppliers across the U.S. I employ 5 people full-time. I donate 5% of profits to environmental causes. I've built something I'm proud of. We want to know more, my father said. We want to understand. It's been 5 years, Dad. You could have asked any time. I know, but we're asking now. Can you give us another chance? A chance to what? Suddenly be proud of me now that you know I have money? A chance to brag to your friends about your daughter, the entrepreneur? No, my mother said quickly. A chance to actually be your parents, to support you, to understand your world. You had a chance. Every day for 5 years. You chose Madison. We were wrong, my father said, his voice breaking. We see that now. Please, Sophia, we're your parents. We love you. Do you? Because it feels like you love the idea of what I should be, not who I actually am. 3 weeks after the party, Maddie Etienne's, Izan called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. What do you want, Madison? I want to apologize. For what? For letting Mom and Dad trash you for years, for not standing up for you, for being okay with being the good daughter while you were the disappointment. I was silent. I've been thinking a lot since the party, Madison continued, about how much pressure I've been under to be perfect, to meet every expectation, to be everything they wanted. And I realize you're free in a way I'm not. You built something that's entirely yours. You don't owe anyone anything. Meanwhile, I have $200,000 in debt, and I'm starting a job I'm not even sure I want just because it's what they expect. Madison, I'm jealous of you, Soph. I have been for years. But I covered it up by joining them and making fun of your business, because it was easier than admitting I wished I had your courage. I didn't expect that. I'm sorry, she said. Truly, you didn't deserve how we treated you. Thank you for saying that. Can we be sisters again? Real sisters? Maybe. Slowly. But Madison, you need to figure out what you want, not what Mom and Dad want, what makes you happy. I know, I'm working on it. 6 months have passed since Madison's graduation party. My business hit $3 million in revenue this year. I'm on track to have $2.5 million in savings by year end. I hired 3 more employees, opened an office space, launched a consulting service teaching others how to build e-commerce businesses. My relationship with my parents is complicated. We talk once a month, carefully, politely. They ask about my business now. They share my Instagram posts. They told their friends about my success. But it feels performative, Like they're proud of my money, not proud of me. Madison quit her big law firm job after 3 months. She's now working for a nonprofit doing environmental law, making 1/4 of the salary, but infinitely happier. My parents were devastated, but she held firm. Sophia showed me it's okay to disappoint them, she told me. They'll survive. As for me, I'm finally at peace. I don't need my parents' approval anymore. I spent 5 years building something incredible while they mocked me. Their validation is nice, but it's not necessary. I validated myself. Looking back, that graduation party was one of the most satisfying moments of my life. Not because I humiliated my parents, though that was cathartic, but because I finally stopped waiting for their approval. For 5 years, I'd built an empire in secret, hoping that one day they'd see me, really see me. When they didn't, I decided to make them see me on my terms. 1.5 million was my way of saying, I don't need your version of success. I created my own. People ask me if I regret how I revealed it, if I should have been more private, more humble. The answer is no. They publicly mocked me for years. I publicly proved them wrong. Fair trade. My parents wanted traditional success. Degrees, prestige, conventional careers. I gave them something better. Results. And here's what I learned. The people who mock your dreams are usually the ones too afraid to chase their own. My parents couldn't imagine success outside their framework, so they convinced themselves my path was invalid. But success doesn't care about frameworks. It cares about execution. I executed. They criticized. And when the results spoke for themselves, they had to listen. So let me ask you, have you ever been underestimated by your family? Have you ever proved them spectacularly wrong? Drop your story in the comments below. And if this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Because sometimes the best revenge is succeeding in ways they said were impossible. My parents laughed at my online business for years. Now they're not laughing. They're just very, very quiet. And I'm very, very rich. Funny how that works.